James looks back over to the new neighbor's house to see the creepy-looking zombie-like corpse guy walking down to the hearse. This time he's followed by a shadowy figure. It's too unclear to see who or what the guy looks like. Jerry asks, "Why are you worried about those dipshit clowns?" James answers back with a question of his own. "Do you know anything about them?" Jerry replies, "Other than their bitchin' wheels, no." James tells Jerry in an informative tone, "Those two guys ain't normal. They look like they stepped out of a goddamn horror film or something." Jerry puffs out some smoke and playfully puts James in a headlock, giving him a noogie on top. James tries to pull away, but is outmatched by his stronger brother. Jerry finally lets James go after James cries like a little bitch for a couple of moments. And then he says, "Come on, goofball. Nothing to see over there. Nothing at all." The tech flicks his cigarette away and struts on back up to the house. And James turns his attention back to his neighbors, who are now at the hearse. The ghoulish guy flings open the back door, and then the two guys both reach in at once, as James just watches them in a trance-like way. James's trance is cut short and his mouth drops when he sees what the two ghoulish figures yank out of the back of the hearse. It's a long, heavy-looking black oak coffin. James says in shock, "Oh my fucking God." He then mutters, "No way, no fucking way, no. He then nearly jumps out of his skin when he gets grabbed from behind. James spins around and lets out a right hook right to Dick's face. Dick screams in pain as he gets flattened to the ground. He grabs his jaw and he looks at James in annoyance and in pain. He screams at James, "Help me up, you fucking jackhole!" James reaches down and grabs hold of his slimy friend's hand. He then yanks the portly kid up. Dick screams out the question, "What's the big idea, you fucking weirdo?" He adds, "Rude. You're very fucking rude." James explains, "You scared me." Dick laughs out, answering back, "Chicken shit, no Dick." James says, "Over there, the two guys carrying a coffin." Dick looks over at the U-Haul truck and then the hearse. No one's there anymore. He asks, "Are you cracking up, boner face?" James asks confused, "What are you talking about?" He spins his head around to face the new neighbor's house. He sees nothing. Dick chuckles. Dick chuckles out in a condescending tone, "Cracking up there, old buddy? Just don't take it out on my face, please." James' eyes widen with confusion and says, "I don't get it. I just don't get it." It's a few hours later, and Rex's flashy-looking javelin silently pulls up across the street from the house that has the hearse parked out at the street. The U-Haul truck is gone. Rex stares across the street at his mark. The house lights are still on. He looks at his dashboard clock. It reads 1:30. Sherry asks, "You sure this is worth it?" Rex laughs out, asking, "Does a $200 pawn seem like it's worth it?" "Yes, babe, it's worth it." Sherry says, "The guy's a night owl." Rex replies, "Who cares? A big score here, a big score here." With that said, the lights in the house go out. Rex looks at Sherry. He lets out a devious smile as he pops open his door and pulls out a flashlight from his pocket. Sherry asks, "Shouldn't you at least wait till they fall asleep or something before you go in?" Rex exits the car and quietly shuts the door. He quickly yet silently makes his way up to the house. Passing by the hearse, he makes his way onto the cracked up driveway. Weeds and grass are popping out everywhere. Rex goes for the nearest window and peeks into what appears to be the living room. Shadows of boxes and furniture gleam as the light of the moon bounces off of them. The scum punk shines his flashlight throughout the room, and bingo! The golden chalice is sitting on a small table. A sinister smile forms on his face as he goes for the front door, which is about 3 feet away from where he's standing. Rex slyly looks around as he pulls out a flathead screwdriver. He makes short work of the lock, breaking it off pretty quickly. He then slowly and silently opens the door up. He enters the house. Rex slowly glides around the living room, dodging and passing by various furniture and boxes as he makes his way to the chalice. When he reaches the object he has his eyes on, he gives it a quick swipe and looks it over. His mouth salivates as the thought of getting some major money for this pops into his mind. It's at this point, however, his face turns to disgust and his stomach starts to spin around and rumble. He looks around and starts to gag from the stench of rotten death that has just hit him like a fist to the stomach. He quickly covers his nose as he begins to gag. He asks in a very repulsed way, "What the hell is that smell?" The stench starts to do such a number on his nostrils that he begins to taste the putrid smell in his mouth. He begins to dry heave when this happens. Rex shakes his head and spins for the door. Before his attention turns to his final destination, he sees a pair of glowing red eyes in the darkness, watching him. They're coming from one of the bedrooms. When the glowing red eyes catch Rex's full attention, he gets put into a full-on trance. A mist starts to form, and it glides over to the statue punk thief, who can't do a damn thing about it. A bat-faced human-like creature, bald and greenish, flies out of the shadows with the greatest of ease. The creature, which is wearing old, tattered clothing, grabs Rex by the head. With one hand, the monster shoves Rex's head down so his victim's neck is revealed. And it immediately sinks its razor-sharp 4-inch fangs into the punk's neck. Blood spews everywhere, just like tomato sauce. With one massive rip to his neck, there's a sickening sound of veins and tendons ripping apart that acts like a grotesque symphony. In the end, the punk's throat is ripped clean out, and he convulses from the massive bodily shock. Blood splatters and sprays everywhere, making for a rather gross, morbid sight. The chalice falls to the ground with a loud thud, which acts like an exclamation point to the situation. Meanwhile, Sherry is sitting in a car curled up in a ball, chewing on and blowing bubbles with gum while having periodic looks of boredom forming on her face. While she's in her little world, a shadowy figure catches her attention as it walks onto the street and stands about 15 feet in front of the javelin she's sitting in. Sherry forms a look of annoyance on her face as she sucks the bubble gum back into her mouth. She calls out, "Come on, lame brain, stop fooling around and let's get gone." The passenger side door gets ripped open and Sherry lets out an ear-piercing scream until two hands reach in and rip her clean out. Sherry plops down on the ground hard, belly flopping on her stomach. A loud thud is heard as she smacks down on the pavement. She gets winded by the hurtful blow she's dealt. She gasps for air as she tries to catch her breath. The attacker grabs Sherry and yanks her up with the greatest of ease and plants the leather-clad girl on her feet. A twisted look of horror forms on her face as she sees who her attacker is. The beastly-looking ghoulish man looks like Frankenstein's monster fucked the Wolfman. Elongated snout and patches of hair covering his face. He has muscles for days, almost like a bodybuilder. The creepy-looking guy creature opens his mouth to reveal rotted-out green and yellow-colored teeth and several razor-sharp fangs. The stench of putrid rot and dog floats from his body and smells as though a line of flies should be hovering over him. The beastly creature laughs, a death-like cackling laugh, as Sherry lets out a silent scream. The creature cocks his arm back and forms a fist. He takes a swing, punching a hole right through the poor girl's chest with all his might. Blood spews out and splatters everywhere as her heart and its hand flies out through her back. The creature rips Sherry's bloody heart over to his mouth, and then he lets the poor girl's bloody corpse go. The bloody corpse falls to the street as the creature takes a nice, massive bite into the heart. Blood covers his face as he continues to munch on the muscle organ like it was just an apple. The glowing-eyed, bat-faced creature leaps over to the corpse and starts ripping into the dead girl's throat. The next morning, James is down at the street dribbling the ball around his basketball hoop when Jenny pulls up. James hooks the ball, sending it flying into the hoop as Jenny gets out of her car. Jenny happily says, "Nice shot." James replies, "I know." James trots up to Jenny as his basketball rolls over to his next-door neighbor's rock driveway. The happy couple embraces each other with a hug and kiss. Jenny asks, "Not ready for school?" James replies, "You know, I have today off. Thank God." He adds, "You know, I do think my brother's right about school being a waste of time. I mean, Jesus, the major sucks. My major sucks. I picked the wrong one. The basketball coach laughs at me." Jenny shoots back, "Don't be ridiculous. Just change your major and pick up your basketball game." Their conversation comes to a quick stop when the sound of a car horn starts up. The couple turns to face the car, which comes to a complete stop right in front of James's neighbor's driveway. Dick quickly gets out and rushes up to the couple. He's completely out of breath by the time he reaches them. Jenny and James look at each other in unison. James has a smile on his face. Dick says, while trying to catch his breath, You. James cuts Dick off. "Catch your breath with that stuff." Dick gasps for air for a few more moments before he stands up straight and lets out a few coughs as he regains his composure. The portly kid says, Rex. Jenny asks, "What about Rex?" Dick says, "They found his car smashed up. Rex and Sherry got into an accident last night. They were fucking mangled and smashed up pretty goddamn badly." James asks in a somewhat shocked state, "Are you sure? Are you sure it was them?" Dick explains, "Yes, a tow truck was towing his car away. Blood was all over the street too, man." He adds, "Tony saw the two body bags earlier on." Jenny and James look at each other. James asks, "Are you sure it's Rex's car?" Dick answers, "How many other people do you know drives around in a lightning bolt printed Javelin?" He adds, "It's his car, dude." He finishes off by saying, "Tony Del Toro saw what was left of Rex and Sherry on the ground before they were body bagged." Jenny lets out a deep breath and says, "Shocking. Sad. Just shocking." It's at this point that James looks over at his new neighbor's house to see the corpse-looking guy painting the windows with black paint. A look of confusion forms on the jock's face as he continues watching the weird action. James says, Guys, look at that." He points over to the guy painting the windows. He asks, "Isn't that a bit weird to you?" Dick answers, "Yeah, I guess." Jenny asks, "Why would someone be painting windows?" James answers back with a question. "Why would someone drive around in a hearse? Why would someone have a coffin in their house?"